Hello everyone, Judd Zulgad, Jess Myers from Xcel Energy Center, where the Minnesota Wild on Saturday evening drubbed, I think that's the safe word to use, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Always quiet right now, but it was not quiet for very long tonight.
7-2 was your final, and if you can hear music in the background of this, it's because on Saturday nights at the X they have a very festive post-game party downstairs. So if you hear some drum beat or a bass, that's what that is.
Playing some obscure Survivor deep tracks,
you know,
by the way. I was impressed.
The singer's voice on that, he struggled a little bit.
Yeah, couldn't really
wasn't exactly good.
Anyway.
Let's get back to the hockey game. 7-2, the Wild wins. You have Jason Zucker gets 2 goals tonight, but you have 6 different guys get on the score sheet. I think the most encouraging thing that we saw tonight, in addition to the goals themselves, because this team did go through after a 5-0 win against Colorado to open the season, a bit of a goal-scoring drought. In fact, I think they had 7 goals in the next 4 games until tonight. I think the most encouraging thing, though, Jess, was first period you get a goal from not the first line, not the second line, not the third line. You get a goal from all 4 lines.
All 4 lines.
That is maybe one of the toughest things I think in hockey to have, which is not only depth, but get goal scoring from each line, and they got it.
They talked about that a lot after the game, just the balance that this team has and the depth that it has. I mean, the big-name acquisitions, the guys like Thomas Vanek, Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, the big individual players, those are the ones that grab the headlines. What I wrote about a little bit tonight was it's the depth. It's picking up guys like Nino Niederreiter that, you know, that nobody thought a lot of when he was in New York, that provide that depth, that little extra spark that you can roll 4 lines. The other thing I thought that was so encouraging about the first period tonight is you're playing a team that's in the last game of a 5-game road swing. They're a long way from home. They played last night. You realize you've got an opportunity where there's blood in the water in the first 20 minutes. You've got to jump on a team like that, and they did. I mean, they took it to them right away, right from the start. Any notion that this was going to be a competitive hockey game was gone by the time the first 20 minutes is over.
All right, sir, let's play a little game. I'm going to give you a choice here. It's called Elephant in the Room. Thomas Vanek had 2 assists tonight, but he was signed to score goals. He has no goals. That's choice number 1. Or do you want what's behind curtain number 2, which is a power play that is currently 0 for 20. Now, only 1 chance tonight, and I talked to Zach Parise after the game, and he tried to downplay it. He said it needs to get going, but his point is, I think he said they were up by 6 goals at the time of the power play. So he said, forget tonight, which you can or can't. Elephant in the room, which one do you want to talk about?
I think let's just talk about the special teams first of all.
Okay.
And congratulations to the Wild penalty killers. You are now outscoring the Wild power play.
I want Elias to tell me, has this ever been, not 2 games into a season, but have you ever gotten this deep into a season, which isn't that deep, but you know, we're approaching, what, 10 games?
Yep.
1 shorthanded goal, no power play goals. Have we ever had a team had more shorthanded goals than power play goals at any time this deep into a season? Anyway, talk about it.
Yeah, and
what's wrong or something wrong?
Here's the issue, and Mike Yeo has talked about this a lot. The first power play of the game is critical because, you know, if you don't score on it, and they haven't scored on it in every game this season, then it builds upon itself. Then it gets into their heads. You know, they always look great on that first power play, moving the puck. Tonight there was only 1. It's a small sample size, but it just hasn't happened. Here's the deal. In a game like this, in a game like the Arizona game a couple nights ago, in those first 2 games against Colorado, it's not a factor because you're winning anyway. It's like the Detroit Lions kicking situation. It doesn't matter. They're winning games anyway. You know, but
so it does matter.
You're going to need those goals in games like the 2 that they lost on the road.
Right.
When you lose 2-1 and you outshoot a team badly and you move the puck great and you just can't score. Those are the ones where it kills you. You've got 2 road games coming up that are going to be really tough. You're going into Madison Square Garden to play the Rangers. You're going into Boston to play the Bruins. You've got to get a power play goal in those games to be competitive. I don't see you coming out of those games 0 for 30 or whatever it would be by that point, let's say, without a power play goal and winning those games.
Last thing, we talked about the depth tonight and the scoring from that depth, which was good. Give me one more overriding positive from this 7-2 Wild victory of Tampa Bay.
Defenseman with 2 goals. I mean, getting those guys into the scoring. You know, you watch that first goal and you see a guy cutting to the net and making a nice 5-hole move, and you look, that's Marco Scandella.
Yeah, you're right.
How does he get that involved? The other thing that I want to point out, the stat that jumps out at me, the Wild have outshot the team they've played in every game this season. You know, all those years we talked about, you know, they just don't shoot the puck enough. How many times did we hear fans screaming, shoot, every time they had the puck on the power play? Yep. You're not hearing that anymore because they're out shooting teams. John Cooper, Tampa Bay's coach, had a stat that jumped out at me too. He said they missed 18 shots. They had 19 shots, they missed 18 shots. Wow. So you're playing that kind of defense where it's forcing teams to get off shots that are ill-advised. So shots on goal are another big factor.
Our work here is done. The band is not done yet. He's Jess Myers. I'm Judd Zolgad. You came to 1500ESPN.com. We appreciate that. We're talking Wild Saturday night. Wins 7-2. Very convincing victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm sure we'll talk soon. Now I'm going to shut this thing off. Goodbye.